to the Monday night, end of month, end of June 2025 Tech Talk Zoom chat. I'm glad everyone's here. This is a nice full group, and I'm expecting, or I'm hoping, one more person is going to come, and if not, Jamie's going to pinch hit. But we've got a bunch of stuff planned for tonight, and just to let you know what the plan is, we're going to start off talking about tree apps and updates from Jamie. And we have two new ones that have been added, and David is the author of one of those, so he's going to talk about what he's done. And Joel is another one, and if he's here, then he'll talk about what he's done, and if not, Jamie will explain. And then Murray is going to give us an update on the WikiTree browser extension. And he was going to talk about all the great stuff that Kay has done, but Kay is here, so she could talk for herself if she wants to. or Murray will put words in her mouth. I don't know. Well, they'll figure that out. I'll leave that to them. And then we are going to end. We're going to end with Megs, who is our special guest, and she's going to talk about the collaboration between WikiTree and FTDNA. She talked about that already on the roundup on Saturday, so those of you who've seen that have already got a preview of what that's it. I suspect she'll go into a little bit more technical detail and not as much of the preamble, because most of us are probably up to speed on that, but I'll leave that to Megs. And Patty is here and gave her a nice long email about things that she might want to talk about. And so there's lots of fodder there. So we will try and keep it an hour-ish, but we will probably go we might go a little bit longer. We'll see how that works. Okay. And I see someone's admitted people to the room, so that's working out well. So great. So thanks everyone for coming, and thank you and those who are watching this after the fact. I hope you enjoy this as well. You can always add questions in the G2G post leading up to the event, and we will answer any questions live too. So there will be time for that. So if you do have questions, put your question in the chat with a Q in front of it so that it stands out for us. And we will try and get to that, especially if it's something specific to someone who's talking or demonstrating something. That would be very helpful. So Jamie, what's new with tree apps and testing and server stuff and everything like that?
I was just checking to make sure my microphone was on. So if you guys don't know who I am, I'm Jamie Nelson. I'm on the WikiTree team as the community technology assistant. And I also co-lead the WikiTree apps project with Kay, who is in the chat as well. So first I'll just talk a little bit about about testing. So when we did the redesign, the tech team decided to try a bit of a new release schedule. So every Friday, we are moving the features we've been working on for the week that we think are ready to go to a test server. And so if you are a member of our Discord server, every Friday or maybe Saturday morning, I try to post the instructions for so you can test out new features and give feedback on them. And then if everything is good with those features, on every Tuesday, we're trying to do a batch of bug fixes and improvements and stuff. And I've been trying the past few weeks to make a post about what has changed. They all have the title Site Improvements and the date for that week. So maybe I'll put the one from this past week in the chat just so you can see what it looks like. And so yeah, so that's what we've been trying out. It's been working pretty well, especially since now Steve has been helping doing the programming. So Brian, our main tech guy, he's been working on like the big picture stuff, and Steve's been doing a lot of like the little bug fixes and tweaks that usually wouldn't get done for a while. So it's great. So yeah, we're starting to really get into our groove and start fixing a lot of the bugs, especially some of the ones that we're fixing some of the stuff that people didn't like about the redesign and stuff like that. So yeah, that's testing. So yeah, if you ever are free on the weekend and want to test what's coming up, check out the tech chat. Is that what it's called in Discord? The channel. And there's going to be a pinned post in that channel that will give you instructions. And then for tree apps, Greg mentioned that there's two new ones, although one of them isn't really new. It's an improvement to one that was already there. So I don't know if Joel
is not here yet, so why don't you go ahead and show that one, and then we can let
or
David.
do we want to let David go first, and then if Joel doesn't show up, then I can show it
do
off.
that. Super, David.
Okay, so
David,
yeah.
do you want to talk about the app that you've created, and do you want to share your screen, or do you want Jamie or I?
Yes, by all means, certainly. Let me share my. The origins of this were from maybe 10 years ago, before I became involved in or started to use WikiTree. And at that point, one of the tools that I had been using was Roots Magic, but I didn't like and various other tools to try and look at different visualizations. And at that point, I then built this app as a standalone. Essentially, I exported a GED file from Roots Magic, converted it to JSON, and then used it as a way of trying to teach myself a bit more JavaScript. So it was kind of a dual thing of visualization and learning JavaScript. Essentially, what I had wanted was a visualization that let me see the relative lifetimes of different members in an extended family. This one that I've got up at the moment, that you can see, Jacob Preston at the top of that is my great 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 grandfather. And I wanted the sort of visualization that shows there, where I can kind of see the members of his family, but on a timeline that shows their relative periods in which they were alive. So in this case, Jacob married to Mary Bridge, had one child, Mary then died. And by looking at that, I can see that before he married a second time, he had a child, William, who's my great-great-grandfather, with Sarah. And because his date of birth starts before the family line, the vertical family line, it basically means that he was born before they got married. Obviously then married, had another 4 children who all died as infants, and then finally had another one who managed to survive infancy. So by showing it that way, I can actually see much more quickly kind of patterns than I could if I just had a list of a normal sort of non-timeline based family tree. So as I said, I kind of built that as a standalone app a decade or so ago. I then joined WikiTree maybe 8 years ago, but only finally got around to migrating this across recently. Work got in the way and a whole lot of other things, and I finally sort of decided, oh, hang on, I built this thing 10 years ago. Let me see if I can work out how to integrate it into the WikiTree apps. There were some interesting challenges. Getting the visualization looking right was part of it, and I had a lot of good feedback from a few nice alpha testers for me. And then there were some technical issues around how I use the API calls and which ones, and minimizing the kind of the number of calls and etc. There were some challenges in how I order people. Let me show you an example. Where's the one I wanted? This one. The person who's highlighted, Mona Weber in the center, is my grandmother. Her father, Guido Weber, married twice. And normally I would put second marriages at, working out how to order the people vertically was a challenge. And there were all sorts of edge cases that were nasty. In this case, Guido actually married Eleanor Talbot, who's my great-great-grandmother. She died, and then Guido married her sister. And so you get cases like that where the ordering is, do you order his second wife amongst the siblings, or do you order it separately? So I had to kind of work through all those sorts of aspects. I did some interesting testing. Mostly it kind of, the visualization works well. There's a few interesting cases like, I suspect most people would be aware of this one. Brigham Young was a nice, interesting test case. You can see, I think he was at 47 wives and lots of children. And so you get ones like that where the visualization is interesting insofar as it kind of demonstrates just that case, but it loses meaning in terms of actually trying to see the individual relationships well. But it didn't break the app, which was
That's the first thing I was thinking, David. I can't believe it didn't crash.
um, it's a nice test case to use. And so there are kind of interesting ones like that. The big difference between the WikiTree version and the one that I built 10 years ago was the way in which I can now make it work dynamically. So if I go back to, that's me down the bottom. And so I designed it so you can click on a person and it will expand their part of the tree. And so I can keep going, look at John's parents and then Charles' parents, and then you get all the way back to Thomas, who married married multiple times. If I click on a person that isn't at the top of the tree, rather than expand them, it'll contract them. So I can kind of work my way back and close it, in fact, all the way back to, close things down. I had someone tell me, oh, they much prefer the timeline in the opposite direction with the most recent living people on the left. So I said, okay, that's easy. I'll just flip it around.
Nice.
It starts with just going back 2 generations, but I can add more incrementally, but I can also say, show me, all 8 generations. I'm not quite sure why you'd want to do that unless you were trying to generate something for to print out, but you can. And if you just want to see direct ancestors, you can hide. Let me flip the timeline back. You can just show direct ancestors rather than all the siblings and aunts and uncles and etc. You can click on an individual person's name and it'll open their page, etc. So yeah, that's kind of it.
Yeah. I like it's not on this screen, but on one of the previous ones, one of the end of one of the bars just sort of fades off,
Oh,
which is a very cool effect.
so one of the bits that was interesting, a challenge, was where dates aren't known. So when their death isn't known, I just faded off saying, I don't know when they died. It was trickier in cases where their birth date wasn't known. And so where do I actually start it? And so basically there's a sequence of steps. And especially also where marriages aren't known. So where a marriage isn't known, I look at the date of birth of the oldest child and make an assumption to show the parental relationship at that point. Where their birth isn't known, I look at either a marriage or the birth of the oldest child and go back, I can't remember what, a configurable number of years prior, and show it fading out in that direction.
Yeah, very impressive. Very impressive. Anne Fiordalisa says she likes the sen factor. I'm not sure what you mean by the sen factor there.
It is the generation, GEN.
Oh, generation. Oh, I
Right.
see. The
The
generation.
gen.
Yeah. Typo there. And Amanda thought it'll be handy to see who's missing on the WikiTree. So yeah, I agree. Nicely done. Nicely done, David.
I have hopes of animating it so when you do expand it, it does it in a nice clean, dynamic way rather than just expanding it out. But that was going to be too difficult. And I had sort of looked at various graphical code libraries, but I couldn't get any of them that would let me order it in the way that I wanted. So I ended up basically coding it from scratch.
David, what's it like if you print it out? What does it look like?
That's the one that's on the to-do list. I haven't actually tried that yet. That's kind of the next step. I want to make sure that it does print cleanly.
I haven't tried the printing myself, actually. I was playing around with it today. It's very impressive. Great. Well, thank you for sharing that. Always nice to welcome another new another developer to the team. Someone else working on apps that I can tap on your shoulder in the future.
Yep, definitely. And if anyone has any suggestions for either if you find bugs, edge cases that I've forgotten about,
So
there are
many
some
bugs.
edge cases where neither birth nor death date are known for multiple generations. So I have found one case where I can break it, but I haven't yet worked out how to solve that one. And that's also true when you're looking at individuals who are private. So that kind of creates some interesting challenges. But if you do find any either bugs or other changes to it that you think might be useful, or extensions or enhancements, I'd be delighted to hear.
Excellent. Great.
David, have you made a G2G post about your app yet?
I did early on when I was asking for some feedback, but not since it's gone live, more publicly.
That might be a good place to direct people to give feedback if you want to make a new one.
Thank you.
Good idea. So thanks, David. And Joel, you arrived just in time. So there you are. We were just talking about the two new tree apps that went live, and David's just demoed his. So do you want to demo the updates in your...
Sure.
Hey, another Linux person.
So this is Zoom has gotten better over the past 5 years on Linux, I have to say. This is my favorite chart. Whoever built this, big, huge thumbs up. I love this. But I'm gonna go to this fella here. It's my old man. Because his tree is a little more filled in. I'm on the Acadians side of things here, so his chart's pretty filled in. But there was a conversation, I think in Discord, that somebody was wishing that they could print 6 generations on the printer friendly, and I was in a place where I could play with that, and I saw that when this was originally created, that the first ancestor, or the first person, or the person who is the subject of the chart, was taking up an entire column. And it was just a waste of screen space, in my opinion. So I said, well, what if we put it at the top of the page, and we then have an extra column for the 6th generation back? And I said, why not? That's just tweaking the code a little bit. I mean, look, I don't know how you guys make apps, but I know I can change existing code, extend it a little bit, and learn along the way. And that's what I did here.
Perfect.
The greatest challenge here was making it fit on a piece of paper. So when I go to actually print this, it turns out it works pretty well. Well, not on my computer apparently, but somebody printed it.
Yeah,
This
so I just a thing. I think so. It works well in the repository, but it didn't transfer over properly to production yet. I think because we do some sort of weird redirect.
Yeah.
So the apps one should, the one at that.
This one, this is the way it worked. I need my thing here. I saw that, and I thought I had solved it, but no, it's okay. So it's here that it works just fine. I see. I can continue to work on this. In fact, this is interesting because I'm getting different results here as well. I actually see all his information because it's my father.
Right.
Interesting. Oh, I'm not logged in. That's why.
That would do it. That would be part of it anyways.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
the
that'd be
issue
part
on
of it.
production might be something for me to fix, just because it might just be like the core WikiTree code that's
Yeah,
interfering.
what's happening is it's not hiding these
Not hiding,
portions and the
yeah.
footer for printer friendly or for the print media. It's very simple to fix. I think you just
Great.
need to hide a couple of blocks and you're good to go. And this, yeah. I could probably help you track that down, Jamie.
Oh,
Yeah. But in any case, this is somebody had tested this. Now when we print, we get it on one page.
Nice.
And somebody had just for kicks done it on portrait. The lines don't appear, but they are there when you print. But it looks pretty good in portrait, and it looks
Does.
good on A4 for the regular people in the world because we're weird here in the US. It works out pretty well. Although I have to say the US letter would have a little bit more vertical space. So if names get excessively long, then there's a little more wiggle room here. But A4 looks pretty good. I want to say that if I get like 2 more that have 3 rows on the 5th generation, then it starts to push onto the next page. But I
Right,
think for 99% of cases, it might be okay. But I'd love to see more testing.
right. So now if you shrink the web page before you do Control P, does that change or the printout?
Oh, so like this?
Yes.
No,
No, it doesn't. Okay.
because that's a zoom feature of the browser, and I think it's ignored when you go to the print media.
I thought so, but I just wanted to test it and see if
Well, you do have the
that would
scale
be the first
factor
thing I would
here.
try if it spilled over to the second
And-
page. Well, I'll just zoom in or
And you're seeing my print dialog, right?
Yeah, we
Okay.
are. Mhm.
I was hoping because I'm talking about this thing and but you do have the scale feature here, which it does have an effect. So again, the
Oh.
lines disappear, but they're still there. So there is some flexibility here. What happens if I do
Oh, so
50?
you might be able to get away with that way then.
Yeah, you could. You have some room, but we fit it to page width
Yeah.
and it'll fit most cases. But if you need a little more room, you could do like 85% or something.
Right.
Yeah, it looks pretty good. I need more pictures, but hey, I'm lucky to have hers right here.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. But once you get one in a generation, you want everyone from that generation to have pictures so it's symmetrical. At least
Yeah,
my
yeah.
obsessive.
One can hope. One can
Yeah, I
hope.
know.
But yeah, I enjoyed working on this. And I'll keep it up to date as I can. But Jamie, if you want some extra eyes, just let me know.
okay.
Excellent.
And then yeah, I could actually show the printout, but it doesn't matter. You can
Yeah.
test on the printing on your own.
That's great. Okay. Well, then once once you guys work out how it worked, it can work on the production side so that it works beautifully, then Joel, you should do a G2G post as well to give an update on that.
Okay,
That'd be
can do
great.
that.
Excellent. Jamie, was there some other stuff, any other news from WikiTree that you want to talk about?
Oh, yeah, just real quickly. Let me find the G2G post real fast.
Well, Jamie's looking for that. Joel, Jamie actually gave a link to the app server in the chat. So we can play
Yeah,
along.
just so you guys can play with it
Mhm.
hopefully, yeah. I'll try to do that today, to get it working for you guys.
Mhm.
But yeah, the other thing I wanted to talk about is an improvement that we want to happen, which I think Greg will be happy about. But we're trying to figure out how to allow for biological and non-biological parents to be attached to profiles. So in G2G right now, there is a post that's pinned to the top called "What do you think of this plan for connecting biological parents?" So I believe Chris is going to keep it up for one more week just so we can get as much feedback before we try to spec it out and then make it happen. It's been on the wish list for a lot of people for a long time. And
Yeah.
so yeah, we're trying. So yeah,
Excellent.
I'm gonna post that on this in the chat as well, a link directly to that post. So yeah, please give your feedback on the plan, and if you have better ideas, we're open to anything.
Okay, great. So it hasn't been spec'd out. You're not sure how the API is going to be tweaked to accommodate that yet. That's too early.
No, yeah, it's too early. But we
early.
will once it's live, or like while we're doing all that, we'll make sure that you will be able to use it in your tree apps.
Excellent. Yeah. Because I did create the 6 Degrees app, which is a standalone one, not the one that's integrated with the CC7. That one, I've got a cheap sort of way around that if you use the adoptive template. But not everyone uses that, and then I haven't gone further with the other tree apps. But this will make it, once it's standard, then it'll be easier, I think. So that'd be very cool. And yeah, and hopefully both sides will count towards your CC7, right? That would make sense, right?
No.
I believe so.
Well, it's connections, right? It's close connections. So if it's a CC7, the connection is whether it's biological or through marriage. So why not through adoption as well? So
yeah, I'm pretty sure that Alesh plans to add it.
yeah, it wouldn't count. It would not generate DNA. Your adoptive side would not generate any DNA match.
Right. The DNA matches already stop if you have the non-biological marker set.
Yes. Right.
So it would just be the same thing.
It'd be the same. So that doesn't need to change at all. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then I could double my CC7 in one go, in one update. Anyway, well, thank you, Jamie. That's great. Excellent. Always neat things happening. So now I'd like to turn it over to Murray and talk about the WikiTree browser extension, and feel free to bring in Kay whenever.
Ian produced this list for me, or for us, I guess, of the things that have changed in June. Now we're currently up to 2338 on the preview version. The 8 came out today. So there's a bunch of things that have been fixed, and they're just constantly being fixed, right? So distance and relationship, the FindAGrave citation. You could read that yourself. So there's a bunch of stuff that have been fixed. There's a bunch of stuff that has been improved, and Kay put a lot of work into the things that have been improved, and also a bunch of things that have been fixed. And I'll let her talk about that in a moment. In terms of added, the suggested matches filter, the collapsible descendants, the text expander feature, the locations helper, and the distance and relationship. And so I'm just going to show you a couple of those. So here's the watch list, for example. So now you can, there's new buttons in place, and you can just, pick people. You can select individual people, or you can check or uncheck all, and then you can just remove them from your watch list. The collapsible descendants tree. So here we have the descendants of Guillaume Capella, and Guillaume had 4 daughters and 2 sons. And so we can see here that we can, just collapse various sections so that we can travel through and highlight the ones that we want to see, and make the other ones disappear so that we don't have to look at them. And, you can walk through like that. So that's very helpful. I did the watch list. Oh yeah, add new person. So here, I'm going to add Marie Curie. Now, obviously, we already have a profile for Marie Curie, but so this is, I'm going to add a new Marie Curie. I've got the right birth date. I've got the right locations, basically. And if I could just move this thing out of my way, then I'll be able to see over here. And now, so I press continue, and oh, what's happening here? Oh, no, sex at birth.
Gender, yeah, there you go.
Okay, so female. I wonder why it didn't do that when I did the. So I'll hit the continue again, and it says no matches were found, which isn't what it's supposed to say, because I tested this while Ian was working on it.
Oh,
and it was working properly, but now it's not. Anyway, so there should be a whole bunch of there should be matches here. I should be able to pick the right one. I should also be able to filter by location, etc. And let me just go. Yeah.
I think there's a bug with the matches where if you have a married last name, it won't find them.
Really?
So I don't know if maybe if you delete the last
Delete
or the
Curry?
married last name, yeah, if you might get matches.
Hmm. Check
And
again.
then
Oh,
see the check
check
again
again.
button came up. Yep. That's a new one.
That is new.
Yep.
Oh, maybe it's not working.
No, no, that didn't work, but that's okay.
I just know that some people have issues with that.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Let's
Yeah.
see what else we got here. The table filters. So that's on the watch list. The text expander. Now this is cool.
Oh.
So I can go in here, and if I type in just the letters A and C and then hit the
Mhm.
space bar, it's going to replace it with Ancestry, like that.
With
And
these.
so I can do my favorites. Now, one of the things, see, I'm a technical writer, and
Yes.
I have this bad habit of typing in TEH when I mean THE. And so it's just going to correct that for me. It's just something that
Oh.
I know that I do, and so so I just added it there. Now let's go back to my list.
So I could put stud nets in instead of students because I did.
Yeah,
That's
there
how.
you go.
Yeah, perfect.
Ian just a couple of days ago, maybe it was yesterday, added the in auto bio. It was looking at refs that were inside the research notes,
Hmm.
and somebody pointed out that was not the right thing to do. So he fixed that. He also added some buttons. He made the clipboard more effective so that you can paste into an email box on the trusted list privacy page, and
Hmm.
remember your last position in the bio box. And now the text expander supports multi-line expansions. So you could type in just a few letters and space, and then you'll get a multi-line expansion. And now I'm going to turn it to Kay to talk about the things that she did specifically.
Saw a couple of things on the watch list, and I don't have a very big watch list, so it was really easy for me to test on my Linux box, going to the end of my watch list and going previous and back because it was just 2 pages, and to see them all, so I could see the buttons were a little weird. So we got that cleaned up. Took the distance and relationship off from free space pages, and Ian fixed the sorting issues. That was basically what was going on.
Yeah, so Ian added a little feature here. This used to be your 7th great grandfather used to be above this line, and you can still make it do that.
Okay.
But he's now made this the default. It'd be below the birth and death date. And so I'm just going to cut us short here now because I know we all want to hear from Mags.
Okay, great. Well, great
There-
work.
There's
Kay,
one
did you-
more thing that Ian did
Okay.
in that auto text expander, which is fantastic, is he fixed it so that when you expand in one of the data fields, it will drop the space off the end. So if you're
Mm.
trying to put in county, comma, you don't have to backspace to get rid of the space. Huge time saver, huge time saver.
Nice. Excellent. Well, thank you. Thank you, Murray and Kay, for sharing that. And thank you, Ian, if he's watching this after the fact. Thank you, Ian, for all the work that you've been doing on this as well. There was a question before we go on. And Murray or Kay, I wonder if you can answer this. Patty asks, I can't highlight the question like I can when I'm using StreamYard. Why does the WikiTree browser extension and the sourcer appear to be arguing about the best format for the FindAGrave citations?
That's a good question. And actually there's a bigger question. It's not just the FindAGrave thing. Rob and I were talking about this after the last session, I think it was. Some people apparently when they build a profile, they'll use Sourcer and get all their sources over, and then they'll run AutoBio.
Oh, yes.
And now I've always been in the habit of using what Sourcer gives me.
Mm-hmm.
And Ian said to me one day, "Why do you do that? Why don't you run AutoBio?" And I thought, well, because Rob's already done, the text for me. Why do I need to run AutoBio? And
Mhm.
but then Anne mentioned last time, oh, this is where I would run AutoBio. And so he and I were talking about this, and we think that this is something that needs to be sort of discussed more broadly. But
Mhm.
you know, there's differences in how Ian and Rob have handled the
Mhm.
text. So this, in order to answer your specific question, I'd have to go back to Ian to
Mhm.
find out why he didn't use the template. But I'll do that, Patty, and we'll get an answer out to you. But yeah, there's a bigger question here, and as to which approach, and maybe we need to do some, you know, a little bit more formal testing and looking at how the different ways do it, and
Mhm.
who likes what.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, thanks for taking that away to Ian there, Murray. That's great. Anne had a question about use with a bug with the sorcerer, and Anne, I'd like to defer that till next month when Rob is back and can answer that better. Okay,
And he'll
so
be the host.
and he'll be the host, so for sure, for sure he'll answer it. So I'd like to turn it over to Megs now to talk about the wonderful collaboration between WikiTree and Family Tree DNA, which is very, very exciting.
It is very, very exciting. And it's been a long time coming. I can say that the first time that I had a conversation with Family Tree DNA was back in 15 years ago. I want to say it was, no, 10 years ago, with Elliot Greenspan and Joran. Joran Runefeld has just come on to Family Tree DNA, and I don't know some of the back end stuff at FTDNA of what's gone on, but I know that there are others of WikiTree people who have been very adamant and very pushy when you get right down to it to get an integration with FTDNA and WikiTree going. So it's not just been me, it's been all of our WikiTree volunteers who've been very vocal with Family Tree DNA about the fact that we're free, and that there's the probability that they could get a lot of stuff done if they integrated with us. And the first bit of the integration was regarding just adding your WikiTree ID into your FTDNA account, which does a lot of things. Right now, it's going to do a lot of more things in the future, and I'll touch on that in just a second. Patty sent a short little itty bitty email out, as Patty does. And Patty, I answered Patty yesterday with my answer, which was, you can really do anything you want to with the FTDNA DNA group projects on WikiTree. Just have a main project page and then link off to free space pages. Was it Kay? Was it you that was saying that you're going to do that with the Knights and just have each one of the groups take that off to a free space page to be able to explore more information on those groupings? I don't know if it was Kay that said that. I've had so many people talk to me about it, but unless I need to go back to some beginner stuff and talk about how to add that your ID to your account, I wanted to jump straight into some of the Family Tree DNA, what's going to come in the future, which I've seen already. Oh my gosh!
Well, that's great. Well, maybe
Yeah.
can you maybe just take 1 minute just to show how to add the ID? Just
Okay,
very
well, let me
basic
do
thing.
this first because I had to try and figure out how to
Oh,
privatize the GAP, which is the Group Project Administrators portal. I had to figure out how to privatize it so that everybody could see. So I want to show this real quick.
okay, you go ahead.
So in the GAP information, the administrators can get through the back door into some of our profile data information for our testers. If they give us advanced access, we can actually go in and add their IDs to their WikiTree account the exact same way you or I would do it for our own account. And the cool thing is that when you have a tester and you bring up the member reports, and you bring up the member information, you get a big long spreadsheet with all of the members. So let me share real quick. So this is how I privatized it, and don't laugh, but I made it so tiny that you can't see. But this is my dad's kit number, and if I didn't privatize this, it would show you all the other people in the Gaulden DNA group project and their email addresses and all that stuff. So here is where it gets fun. So if
Okay.
I look and hover over the tree icon that Family Tree DNA uses, it says that I have a family tree that is an archived family tree, and I also have a family tree at WikiTree. So
Oh.
that is the new thing. Since I added my dad's ID to his account, all of the people in the group, I don't have to have advanced permission to see this. If I add his ID to his account, then I'll get that. If I click on it, it'll say archive tree or WikiTree. And if I
Oh, there we
click
are.
on WikiTree, it takes me immediately over to my dad's profile page where I can go straight to his ancestors. And I also can click through to his descendants, which is myself, my brother and sister, which you guys know how that all goes. So it'll take me here. And from here, I mean, you can go over and you can look at all of his DNA tested connections. You could do a couple of fun things over at MitoY by doing the comparison. I click to compare, and I want to enter another mitochondrial DNA kit. I could enter mine in, which we wouldn't match because he gets his mitochondrial DNA a different route that I got mine.
Thanks.
But I can also do that with all of the links over here. But there's also something kind of fun. So if you click on the test details, you actually get taken right into the DNA information page for my dad. And you can look down and you can see all of the connections to my dad, and you can actually view the relationship, you can check the ancestors, and you can check the descendants. And this is something that is going to be coming out further. I actually have a blog post that is going to be a part of FTDNA's blog coming up in like in about a week and a half or 2 weeks, that is going to be going into detail with some of the DNA features that we have created on WikiTree. So it's gonna talk about some of this stuff, but there's so much stuff to talk about that I had to be careful. I wanted to give people instructions on how to join WikiTree and how to get that ID over. But I also wanted to go through, and like I did Saturday morning, it was almost like I wanted to vomit everything I knew up, and we didn't want me to vomit that up. So
No.
so it gives you all these kind of links. And another thing that I think is just fabulous is being able to go into the surname listings. So my surname is actually a Gaulden derivative. And so I can click in and I can actually see those. So there's a really fast way to get to that, and that's through the DNA connections page. So I can click off of that. I'm going to show you really quick what's coming up new, and then I'll show you how to get your ID in there.
Sure.
This is what's next coming in the integrations. I can give you, let me get that, and I'll paste that into the chat. Let me see if I can get to that while I'm sharing easily. No. Oh, there it is up there. Oh, I don't see the chat. Hold on a second. Nope, I don't see the chat. Anyway, I'll post that in a minute so you can see. But what Katie says is they're working on exciting new tools for customers who've connected their tree on WikiTree and also MyHeritage. One of the upcoming features will allow a link to your family matching with WikiTree. Yes, yes. I've seen it and I love it. It also will give you big Y and full mitochondrial sequence customers It'll display more information about your matches, direct paternal and maternal ancestors on the match time tree. And if you don't know what the match time tree is, that is a list like in a DNA group project that shows you all the people that have your SNP, and it shows it in a progression down from the philo tree or the philo tree, whichever way you want to pronounce it, which is the tree of humankind. For this one, it's the Y tree, or for the mitochondrial tree, it'll show all that information and it'll give you a date for each one of those SNPs for when they actually mutated. So when you hear about people talking about origins or about ethnicity, it has nothing to do with ethnicity. It has to do with where your group of people were as they were coming out of Africa. And we can tell when each one of those SNPs mutated and when they happened and where that mutation happened. So that's what that is about. It will, you'll not only see the earliest known ancestors, but you'll be able to visualize the full line, which is going to be cool. But these are the new tools that will help you understand your results, make the connections to your Family Finder Y-DNA, mitochondrial DNA matches easier between the sites. Discover new ancestors, which is the ancestors list. So if I go to John Gaulden, which I did last week before I wrote the blog, and I saw 3 new testers for a line that I have not been able to find a tester for. I have a tester in the project, but he's passed away, and I can't convince his sister that he would want his DNA upgraded to a Y700. I can't convince her, but I hopefully with WikiTree's help, I discovered 3 people that could possibly do that in the DNA ancestors list. It's going to be able to allow you to confirm or disprove genealogical hypothesis with a lot of stuff. And one of the things that I put in my blog for coming out in the next couple of weeks is Greg's DNA citation maker, which I think is huge. And Kay, you know how huge that is for DNA confirmations. If people don't have that on their profile, it throws things out. It gets you an email from John Kingman telling you that things aren't right. Then later this year, they'll have more details on what's going on, and they're going to be giving us this stuff. They're going to be throwing this out or rolling this out in staggered steps so that they have an opportunity and that we have an opportunity to help people understand what the new thing is. So I'm really excited. Having started working on an integration with Family Tree DNA 10 years ago, 10 years, I'm so excited to see this come to fruition. I'm also very excited that in all that time, I have gotten to be on the DNA Gap Council, which is a council of project administrators. And we not only look at the DNA group projects, but we also have a great deal of input and influence on changes to FTDNA's systems and how things appear in the UE. And if we have a comment or we want to put in a work order for something, it gets done, which has just been impressive. Being able to work with Katie Roche-Schwartz, who's the product manager for WikiTree or for FTDNA. She's also a WikiTreer. And being able to work with Joran, who's the research and development person, and his team, being able to work with Janine and her team with the group project administrators information. So real quickly, we're going to change our thing here. We're going to go to my dad's profile. Let's see, I may be signed in to my Gap, but if I am, I can change that. Okay. So if I'm over here on my dad's Family Tree DNA thing, I go into account settings. That may throw me out in just a second. Nope, it just turned me back to my, so let me log out and log back in as my dad. That happens real quick. There we go. It has the
That's a lot of numbers in that list.
What's that?
That's a lot of numbers in that kit list.
Yeah. So let's see if I got the right
Make sure you
thing
know
there.
the exact.
Oh,
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
okay.
You sure you got the right number?
There we go. Oh, that's hilarious. Okay, I'm not going to show it to you guys,
No,
but
no, you don't want to do that. The pressure, the pressure. We do have 2 questions in the chat, but I'll wait till you do this because I don't want to.
oh my gosh, you know, it never works when you want to do it in front of
No.
people.
Sign in as
Oh.
project admin, Mags, and go to the page where you showed us the one member that could be seen, and you can do it from that page.
I could,
If you have
but
advanced access.
yeah, but I can't do that without showing you the privatized information for all those members. So that's the problem.
It is 358390, right?
Let me make sure my caps lock is not on.
Oh yeah, there we go.
Okay. Woo!
You got
That was
it.
it.
Was it caps lock?
Yep. All right. So what I do is I go over to the account settings under my dad's name menu. Like we all have WikiTree name menus. So we'll go down to account settings, and then go over to the section that says genealogy, and then we'll scroll down, and we'll see the My Heritage information, and then right next to that, manage your WikiTree tree connection. And they're very fun. They're very good about telling you in the blog explicitly what to do. Now I'm stuck on the page.
Oh.
Can't open anything else up.
Oh, okay. Well, your dad's rest 1 tab over.
Yeah, I can't click on it.
Oh.
I can't click on anything. So what I do is I go to my dad's profile page. Here we go. I go to my dad's profile page, and I just click this, copy this, and I go back to my FTDNA page for him, and I just paste in that and click save, and then it's done. Your WikiTree ID has been saved.
Easy peasy.
That is the easiest integration in history.
Ever. Okay. Now, while you're right there, Patty's question is totally related to this. He says, when entering my WikiTree ID at Family Tree DNA, what are the pros and cons of using just Waldron 201 versus Waldron 201 number sign ancestors?
You did no.
You can't do that.
No, you can only put in, and I don't know if it was you that asked that, and Joran said, please don't put anything else in there except for what we tell you to put in there.
So just the
it's
ID.
Very, very explicit. We can't finagle it. Like if you go, if I go to my account, I don't know if I have it set up in my dad's.
Now, someone else, I think it is Patty, actually, it looks like. You can add your WikiTree, you can add a WikiTree tree ID on 23andMe. And
23andMe, you can add a link to the compact tree.
To the compact.
Yeah. And all of that is coming. All of that kind of stuff is coming.
Yeah.
And what I do to cheat the system is for I put John Gaulden -14 in my earliest known ancestor, for my mitochondrial.
That's smart.
It's under 1503. And Family Tree DNA knows that I've been doing that. So interesting stuff coming up soon about that.
Oh, that's brilliant. I like that.
Yeah.
Putting in the hash ancestors actually does work. We're just not supposed to do it because it won't work with some of the new features.
It won't work. It won't work. It'll clog up. It'll mess up the system if you try and put the wrong information here. It will mess it up. You've got a field there. It's looking for specific information that field is designed to take. And if you put something else in there, you're going to gunk up the system.
Well,
Get error messages.
It works when my matches click on my WikiTree link, they go straight to the ancestors tab.
But I bet you some of the new things they're going to be adding.
New things that may not work with. Yeah.
It'll probably break them then.
Yeah. Please don't put anything unusual in here, especially your ancestors just yet. people want to jump the gun, but there's stuff coming. There's really cool stuff coming.
Yeah, that's great.
Any other
Okay.
questions?
Yeah, so that was that one. Amanda asks, would this work for my account at FTDNA or only family members who have passed? So it sounds like it'll work for anyone's account, right?
Right.
Yeah. So it's not a, if you put it in, then you've basically given permission for people to have
Right.
access to
And
view
you
your-
won't be able to add it to your FTDNA account unless you manage the account. So,
Right.
so that ensures that the people that are adding it are the people who have been given that permission.
Right. And the other thing is, if people are on Family Tree DNA and click your tree, Amanda, they'll be taken to your profile. So whatever privacy settings you have for your profile will still, things that should be private will still be private.
Right.
But your ancestors tab will not, I mean, that's always public, or
That's always public.
That's always
because
public.
it goes, your ancestors at
Goes
some
back and-
point go beyond that 100-year mark.
Yeah.
And a lot of people leave, like my dad's profile is open and he just passed away like not even a
Right.
year ago.
Mhm.
So for group project administrators,
Mhm.
one thing that you might want to mention to your group project members is that if they give you advanced access,
Mhm.
you can go in and do this for them through the DNA group projects. Because we can, as DNA group project members, we can access our members' information and we can see their tests, we can see their matches, we can see all sorts of stuff. But to actually do that edit we need to have advanced access to be able to do that, to be able to get into the account settings to do that.
Is somebody
George,
doing that for the WikiTree project at FTDNA?
Yes, if you are a DNA group project admin and you're like, I went in and changed my father's access and my access, and I'm going to be changing all of the other kits that I manage access on FTDNA to advanced so that the group project administrators can see anything that they need to see and do anything they need to do.
but by adding your father's WikiTree ID there now, all of the group projects that he's part of all already have that access, right?
Yeah, they don't have advanced access to.
No, but
he's already added. They'll
his
see that
WikiTree is
little
already
icon
on
showing
those.
WikiTree, and it'll take you straight into the profile where you can click on ancestors.
Okay. Now, what you just said you did, Megs, fits with a question that George had, because you're talking about going into all of the accounts that you manage. He asked, will Family Tree DNA enable us to access all of my managed accounts from my account? Or do you have to log in individually?
You're going to have to still do the different logins. And since they've tightened up the security on logins, you're going to have to log into every account. And if you haven't already updated your passwords, you're going to have to update those passwords as you go. And I've been doing that, and I have an algorithm for all of my passwords. But obviously, if I've got the caps lock on, it doesn't work. But I've got an algorithm that I keep for all those passwords. Some people are keeping that information, and I do keep my client information in spreadsheets so that I can do that. And I don't know, I have 100 accounts that I manage at Family Tree DNA. I'm only doing this for my family members, not for, if my client requests it, I'll go in and do it for them.
Family Tree DNA will allow anyone managing multiple kits to set up a private project.
Hello?
So I
Well,
was
yeah,
encouraged to do that years ago. I've only
you
one
can do
one
that.
login to access all the kits to manage.
You can do it as a
Hello?
private project, but
Okay, that's interesting.
Okay.
Tommy has a question. Where does mitydna.org fit in with the new integration
Hello?
between Family Tree DNA and WikiTree?
Hello? Somebody's answering the phone. There 2 years ago there was a head nod to mitydna from FTDNA, and there in the discussions some promises have been made, and we'll look and see if those promises come to fruition. I'm excited if they do. Very excited.
Mhm. Okay,
That I can't say. So
that's okay. So to be
non-disclosure.
to be continued.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And Anne's question was more of a statement. So now I have a link with Family Tree DNA, WikiTree, and MyHeritage. That's true.
Great.
Yep.
Yeah.
Super.
They're not doing away with the MyHeritage connection. This is just adding
It's just
another
adding
way
another. Yeah.
tree.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. I think those are all the questions there. Does anyone else have any other questions?
The answer is yes.
The answer is yes. The answer is
That
yes.
or 41.
Not 42?
No.
Well, that was great. Thank you, Megs, for sharing that. I know you've only gotten to the first part, the first couple paragraphs of Patty's email.
Yes. Yeah. And Patty, my suggestion to you is to go through and look, go to the category DNA group projects. If you noticed, I did a G2G post asking people to add that category to their group projects, because we had the Smith DNA group project on WikiTree, and I didn't even know they were here. So add that category to your projects. Patty, go to those projects and take a look at what some of the other people do. Check out what Doug Beasley has done. I don't know if Doug ever comes into the Tech Talk. He's done a really cool job with lots of different ways to do his groupings and the way he's done the charts. Roberta Estes just did a total chart for her Estes project. You can see that. Don't look at mine, because I need to do a lot more work on mine. You know, the cobbler's children have
Yeah,
no
that's
shame.
right. That's right. Yeah.
And I would look
Greg-
at the Campbell DNA group project is really done well.
Nice.
But when I started looking maybe at Mag's projects, I was directed to Greg's apps, which had been broken by changes at FTDNA. Are they still on the to-do list?
Yes, yes. Well, I fixed one of them at least, but I guess not all of them, right?
Yeah.
I'll look again.
Okay, super. Did you have a que-
Biocheck will check when you've used Greg's confirmation app that you put it in the right place in the profile.
Yep.
That's excellent. And that took a
Or
lot
if
of
you have or have not marked the confidence.
And that's all done now?
Yeah, that's all done. That's live.
I'm pointing out that Amanda said that she also asked the question in the G2G post, just like I did. And I think you maybe didn't notice those two.
Shoot, I did not. I'm sorry about that.
Is that a
Sorry if I'm
question
screaming,
for
I
my
can't tell.
G2G post or a question for Greg's? Because I see right under that, she says, my brother's Myers Y DNA went back to Thompson.
Right there. How do I turn off the Amanda, Tommy answered your question, but I wonder if Murray, are you still here?
Yep.
So
looking.
the question that she had, I wonder if you can demo it on your screen. She wants to know, how do I turn off the G2G header so it's not constantly on my screen? If I use my old laptop, it just takes up most of the screen.
So I want to go to into the browser extension, and I want to go down to sticky head. Oh, so actually, before I do that, let me just show everybody. So that the sticky header, this is the header up here.
Right.
Okay, this part there, and and I have so if you have that on, then as you scroll, that header will stay there. But I have it turned off. And I've only been doing that recently, having that turned off, because I found that with the new design, I don't really need that menu up at the top all the time anymore. But anyway, so let's go here, and we'll scroll down to sticky header. And now you see that sticky header has a G2G option. So if I have sticky headers turned on, I don't have to have it turned on in G2G. I can. But I don't have to. So if I disable that, so now let me refresh the screen. So there's the sticky header working. Okay.
Right.
Now I'll go over to join us for Tech Talk.
Right.
And so that's fine. Now we'll just go to, let's see, recent activity, let's say, and see. So what was happening is that this the header was coming down to encompass all the way down to here,
Yes.
right? And even if you had then and went all the way down to here,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so, that was just eating up a lot of space. And I think
Right.
that was mentioned a couple of weeks ago on the
Yeah, on the roundup, when we
on
were
the
looking
roundup.
at questions of the week, the
Yeah.
question took up the top half of the screen. So you only had a half a screen width of answer that you could
Right.
view.
Right. So I immediately pointed that out to Ian. He
Hmm.
immediately fixed it by adding that option. And so that's how you do it. Does that help you, Amanda?
She doesn't have her sound on, so but could you give us a thumbs up or
Yeah, she got
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Yeah.
got it?
Thanks, Marie.
Oh, there she
Yep.
okay. In the chat. Great.
Yep.
Okay.
Perfect.
Super. Okay, well, thank you very much. Thanks, Megs, for sharing that. And thanks everyone who've been part of this. Thank you, Murray and Kay and Jamie and Joel and David for sharing. It's been a great hour and a bit, a little wee bit. And we haven't run over nearly as much as we usually do on the Saturday roundup, so that's good news. And did you have a final question?
Yes, Kathy has one in chat.
Kathy, when is the FTDNA blog coming out? It came out last week.
Yeah, the official blog for FTDNA on the integration came out last week, and my blog for FTDNA and for the WikiTree features will be out I think on the 16th.
Okay, great.
Hey Murray,
Thanks.
I wanted to say hi to you. I haven't said hi.
Hi, Max.
Oh, Canada, tomorrow.
That's right. So happy Canada Day, everyone. We will see you.
Day in Ireland already.
It's Canada Day in Ireland already.
Yeah, it is.
Excellent.
Well, I live close enough to Parliament that when the jets fly over and when the fireworks go off, I hear it and see it all. It's so much fun living where I live in Ottawa.
That's great. Excellent. Thanks again, everyone who's joined us. This is wonderful. We'll see you the last Monday of July, and Rob will be hosting that one. And if you have questions, please add them to the G2G post, and we will answer those. And
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Greg.
Bye.